Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about cognitive deviance and conspiracy theories. So, to start off today's class, I want you to participate in a little mental experiment with me. I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow and finding out that the person sitting next to you isn't actually human. They look like your friend, sound like your friend, but they're really a shape-shifting reptilian from another dimension. Now, I know this sounds like a bad sci-fi movie, but for thousands of people, this is a terrifying fact of life. Welcome to the world of cognitive deviance. Today, we live in a world where alternative facts and deep state plots are all over our social media feeds. It's exhausting, confusing, and can even be polarizing. Today, we're going to look at the human brain and try to understand why our society is so obsessed with conspiracies, how your personal reality is constructed by the people around you, and most importantly, how to build a mental BS detector so you don't get sucked into the hogwash. In sociology, we usually talk about deviant acts like stealing, violence, or drug use, but according to Good, what you think can be just as deviant as what you do. Cognitive deviance, or unconventional beliefs, is when people hold views that are unacceptable or scandalous to a certain audience. Now, there is a crucial distinction between the two. Beliefs are not the same as behaviors. You can believe that the earth is flat or that the moon landing was filmed in Hollywood without ever breaking a law. Here's one other example of this. An individual might believe that the US Census is a Nazi-like invasion of privacy, but still fill out the form because they're afraid of the legal fine. The belief they hold is deviant, but behavior is conventional. Another example of this is atheism. So in the United States, expressing a lack of belief in God is cognitively deviant to 80% of the population. An atheist might, quote unquote, blend in by still attending important events at churches such as weddings. Their thoughts are still deviant while their actions appear to be normal. And while beliefs can lead to behavior, like a conspiracy theorist storming a building, most people have deviant thoughts their entire lives and never act on them. So, what is this conspiracy theory? It isn't just a lie, and according to Good in the Conspiracy Theory Handbook, a conspiracy is a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. There is also a demonology component, which is the quote unquote secret sauce of any good conspiracy. Demonology is a theory of evil that portrays specific people or groups as literal or metaphorical demons. It's not always a supernatural monster. The demon can be the government, big pharma, the top 1%, or international politics. This essentially simplifies the world into a good versus evil narrative. It's also important to note that there are real conspiracies that do happen. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment and the Watergate cover up were very real, secret, and harmful plots. And this is exactly what makes the fake ones so hard to shake. You might think that this is a pretty small issue, but research suggests otherwise. There are about 50% of Americans that believe in at least one conspiracy theory. And interestingly, academic research suggests that while it might feel like there has been an increase in this due to the internet and the exposure of the internet, the overall level of conspiracy theorists hasn't actually risen that much since the 60s. We're just seeing them more often because of social media algorithms and how widespread social media has become. Now let's take a look at the case study of the cattle mutilation mystery. This is one of the most persistent and bizarre conspiracy theories, and it involves cattle mutilation. So, the theory goes like this. Since the 1960s, ranchers across the United States have found livestock dead with organs removed with surgical precision, and there was no blood on the ground. So, the theory is that these experiments are performed by the demon, which in this case is either extraterrestrial beings like aliens or government agencies such as the CIA who use silent black helicopters. And this theory really took off during the Cold War era, which was a time of high government distrust and was also during the time of the UFO craze. So this serves as a vehicle for anti-government sentiment, essentially. And by that same sentiment, if your cow dies of natural causes, which is what scientists say the real answer is, that's essentially just a boring loss. But if the government killed your cow to test top secret weapons, now you're the victim and the hero that's fighting for the truth to be exposed. So, most importantly, how do we stop our brains from falling for the next viral deep state plot that we see? First, we need to check the strange loop logic. Real evidence is falsifiable. So, in a conspiracy, if you find no evidence, the theorist will say that's because the cover up is so good. And if the evidence points to a single person, they may rebuttal with, well, that's what they want you to believe. If the logic works both ways, it's probably not true. You also need to ask yourself, who benefits from this? Who benefits from this theory? Conspiracies usually assume the demon is a godlike genius. So if you ask yourself, could 5,000 government employees really keep a secret for 50 years without one person slipping up and talking to the press? The logical answer to that is probably no. It's also important to practice lateral reading. So don't just read the About Us page on a site. You need to open multiple tabs and see what other independent and credible sources are saying about that specific claim. And then finally, it's important to analyze the demonology. So, is the story portraying a group as pure evil without any sort of nuance or proof, essentially? And, humans are complicated and messy, and it's rare that a movie like Villain Plot exists in real life. So, here are the key takeaways. This is what I want you to remember from this lecture. Number one, you can be a cognitive deviant just by what you think, even if you follow every law. Second, conspiracies rely on turning others or marginalized groups into demons to explain our fears away. Third, what is truth in your friend group might be considered deviance in a science lab. And finally, real conspiracies do exist, but they usually leave a trail of human error. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and I will see you next time.